bright cutie. Every student matters.
Hello students, in this lecture we will be discussing the important questions related to the last topic of this chapter. Right, so the first question is, what are artificial satellites? Students, artificial satellites are the man-made satellites revolving around the earth. Right, they are man-made and they have different uses such as telecommunication, weather forecasting, to send television and radio signals. These are some of the functions of satellites. Right, name two artificial satellites of India. Two can be, the first one is Aryabhatta, the second one being INSAT and EDUSAT. You must remember three names at least so that you can mention. There is Kalpana 1, which is easier to remember because Kalpana Chawla was an Indian, right? So these are four satellites which have been launched by India. Now, what are the other celestial bodies except planets that are a part of our solar system? The other bodies can be, first one being asteroids, second being comets, third being meteors, right? Basically these are the three, and there are satellites as well. Right, these are the other bodies revolving around the sun except the planets. Right, now what are asteroids? The gap, there is a large gap between Mars and Jupiter. The orbits of large gap between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. This gap is filled by a large number of small objects revolving around the sun. These small objects are known as asteroids. Basically, there is a large gap between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, and in this gap there is a large number of objects which are revolving around the sun, and these small objects are known as asteroids, and they can be only seen with the help of a large telescope because they are very small, so we need a bigger telescope to watch them. Right, now what are comets? Comets are another celestial bodies which have a bright head and a tail. Right, they revolve in elliptical orbits around the sun. They have elliptical orbits such as in this shape. Right, they have longer period of revolution as compared to the planets. Right, longer period of revolution, and as they come closer to the sun, the size of the tail increases. Right, this is what you will have to answer in your question. If this question comes in exam, you have to give a proper detail. This can easily be a 3-mark question, and you might be asked about the diagram as well. Right, so you will be drawing a sun, an elliptical orbit with a bright head with a longer tail as it reaches closer to the sun. Right, as it goes far, the tail will be smaller. Right, this is what the diagram that will be drawn. Next question, which comet comes after every 76 years? It is Halleys Comet. Basically, I have put this as a different question because you will be mentioning this comet in the previous question only. You have to mention that comets revolve in a period, revolve in an orbit, in an elliptical orbit. So they are periodically seen because they have a certain period of time of their revolution. So they are every 76 years we see Halleys Comet, and the next it will be seen in 2062. Right? Now describe the type of orbit of comet. The type of orbit of comet is elliptical. As I have already described, it has an elliptical orbit which is this shape, not spherical. right? It is not spherical, it is elliptical, somewhat oval, you can say, right? Now, what are meteors and meteorites? Meteors are the objects which sometimes, celestial objects, which sometimes enter the atmosphere of the earth, right? Due to the friction of atmosphere, they heat up and glow, and due to that heat they look like shooting stars, right? They look like shooting stars, but they are not stars, they are meteors and meteorites. And what else? They get evaporated very soon. That is why the bright streak of light disappears after a few seconds, right? After a few seconds. Are supposed to mention in your question. If this question comes in your exam, you have to give a complete detail. This can also come as a 3-mark question. Easily you will be writing this properly with proper definitions, right? Now, so this was the answer. Now, some meteors are so large that they can reach the earth before they evaporate completely. As we discussed, that the meteor, when enters the earth's atmosphere, due to the friction, it gets heated up and it glows and it gets evaporated due to that heat. But there are some meteors which are much larger, right? They do not get evaporated before they reach the surface of the earth. The body that reaches the earth is called meteorite, right? A meteor is something that disappears in the atmosphere itself and it looks like a shooting star. But if that meteor is large enough and it reaches the surface of the earth, then that body that reaches the earth is known as meteorite, right? Meteorites help scientists in investigating the nature of the material from which the solar system was formed. They are also helpful to us because they give us information regarding the nature of the material from which the solar system was formed, right? Now, what are the practical applications of artificial satellites? First one being telecommunication, right? Second one being, second can be easily weather forecasting. Third one, for transmitting TV and radio signals. These are some of the uses of artificial satellites. There are many more uses as well, but these are main 3 that you have to remember. Right? So these were the important questions of the last topic of this chapter.